Hi, today I want to talk to you about your limitations. I want you to realize that your limitations are self-imposed. You know what? You need to learn to go to another dimension of yourself. And as I lead you to that other dimension of self, you find the greatness there. Your other dimension of self that is deeper and on a different plane, that is where the true greatness lies. And so I want you to understand that you have to, we hear all of this stuff about self-help this, self-help that. I'm telling you that self-help does not work, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to build on something that needs to be destroyed. If a foundation has a crack in it, they may be able to fix it, they may not. If you have a faulty foundation, there's a good chance that you need to tear that down and start over from scratch. When you do all of this self-help stuff, you are trying to improve on something that needs to be destroyed so your true identity can come forward. So I am not a fan of self-help. I do want you to understand that nobody's going to save you, so you have to save yourself. But I also want you to understand that there is another dimension of you, and that is where your greatness is. When you make it to that other dimension of self, there is no boundaries, there is no fear, there is nothing that holds you back from reaching your greatest potential and operating in your greatness. So it is so important that you have to destroy the person that you thought that you were, because that's not who you really are. That is who they told you that you are. That is who that they want you to believe that you are, but that is not who they are. Stop living your life based on what other people think of you and other people's opinions. Understand me. I'm going to make it clear. Other people's opinions of you is none of your business. Again, I'm going to tell you that again. Your opinion of me is none of my business, because your opinion of me is not my reality. It's only when I take on your opinion and make it my reality that it truly affects me. But as long as I know that your opinion is not my reality, I'm able to operate in my greatness and move forward regardless of what you say, regardless of what you think. So I'm here to tell you again, I'm not for self-improvement. How are you going to improve on something that was a lie to begin with? How are you going to improve on something that was never meant to be, because that's not who you truly are? How are you going to improve on something when you have to come to realize that this isn't that, and that isn't this, and that is not who you are? You have got to come to realize that they have lied to you from birth and told you that you're somebody that you're not. My goal is to set the captives free. That's what I came to do, is set the captives free. I came to help you realize that you have been a slave to someone else's opinion. They often say that you can't succeed, that you can't do this, and they actually say what is normal and what's not normal and how you can operate. But I want you to understand, who gives him the right to say what your normal is? You are the master of your own life, of your own destiny. And I want you to know that God put greatness on the inside of you, and it's up to you to travel to that other dimension and tap into your greatness. You cannot tap into it where you are now. You cannot tap into it as long as you're worried about what he says and she says and who they told you that you are, and they told you wasn't good enough. It's time for you to purge yourself of the slavery and the chains that has been holding you in bondage all of this time, and you didn't even realize that you was a slave. Look, it's time for you to accept your true identity. It's time for you to get in touch with who you really are and to travel to the other dimension to tap into your greatness. I just want you to be able to just tap into that greatness, but it's not here. In the other dimension, it's a deeper dimension of self that we're talking about. I'm more inclined to tell you about your self-awareness than self-improvement, because I do not believe in self-improvement, because I don't think that you should improve on something that's broken. I don't think that you should be trying to improve on something that you don't understand and that's not your true identity. So you're going to try to improve on who they told you that you are, and that is not who you are. That is the slave mentality. That is the captive mentality, where you start believing what your captor has told you. You start thinking that you like and you want what the captor wants for you. I came by to tell you that's not who you are, and that is not what you want. So our job is to set the captives free. You no longer are going to be captive to what he said and they said and whoever. You do not have to meet their status quo. We're here to break every status quo. We're here to take you into the next dimension of self. That's all we're talking about here, is you going into the next dimension of self where you identify who you truly are. And I want you to know that your greatness lies in the next dimension of self. And that's what you've got to come to understand. So we actually lead you there. Look, I am the best prophet, empath that the world has ever known. And I'm able to tap into and deal with things that you do not want to deal with and help you to get over the hurdles and the captivity that's keeping you from operating in your greatness that's in the other dimension. So if you're ready to go to the next dimension, if you're ready to go where you've never been before, if you're ready to do what you've never done before, if you're ready to do the things that they told you that you were not capable of, it's time for you to travel to a deeper dimension in self and come out victorious. It's time for you to travel to a deeper dimension of self and tap into your greatness, because it's in that deeper dimension of self that your greatness truly lies. I want you to understand that the only person stopping you is you stopping yourself. The world can't stop you. Once you tap into the flow, once you tap into your greatness in a deeper dimension of self, once you get there, they can't stop you. The fear is gone. The bondage and the chains and everything falls off. You are more creative. You're stronger. You're wiser. You're using more of your brain capability than you have ever had before. You're solving problems that no one else can solve. Look, you were created. When you go to the deeper dimension of self, you were created to be a problem solver. You were created to be a world changer. You was created to change not only your life, but the lives of your family members, and not only your family members, but the lives of your community and the world in which you live. That's what you were created to do. But as long as they keep you chained and bound, as long as they keep you a captive and you stay in captivity, you never tap into the other dimension where your greatness is stored. Your greatness is stored in a deeper dimension of self. So it's time for you to go deeper. It's time for you to visit that deeper dimension and walk in your greatness. It's time for you to understand that you were not created to fit in, but to stand out. It's time for you to stop conforming to the world, conforming to what he said and what she said. It's time for you to stop conforming and start transforming. Transform your very existence. Transform the lives of your children and grandchildren. Transform for generations to come. You are a transformer. You were meant and created to transform things and keep them from being stagnant. You were created to stand out and not to fit in. You were created to be the solution to the problems that we face. Look, I am the light that is shining to lead you out of the dark place of captivity, to lead you out of the dark place of slavery into the marvelous light. And into that marvelous light, you will find a deeper dimension of who you are. And when you dive into that deeper dimension of who you are, guess what? You come out stronger, but you tap into your greatness, the greatness that's inside of you that was put there by God. No one can take your gifts away from you. God gave them to you. Nobody can take your talent, but they can trick you into not using your God-given gifts, not using your talents, not using all that God has put on the inside of you for such a time as this. So because they can't stop you, they trick you into stopping yourself. You are a transformer. You were meant to transform the world in which you live. You were meant to transform other people's lives. You was meant to be like me, a light, and lead people from out of the darkness into the marvelous light. You were created to do great things, but it's in a deeper dimension of who you are, because you're only looking at this outside surface and you're only going on who they told you that you are. So if you're ready to dive in, if you're ready to go to the next dimension, the deeper dimension of self, to where there is no boundaries, there is no chains, there is creativity, there is endless possibilities, there's all kind of power and all kind of knowledge and wisdom. And guess what? When you tap into this inner dimension of self, you are wiser, you are stronger, and you become the solution to the problem that the world has. If there is a problem, I want you to understand that whatever the problem is, as you go into the deeper inner dimension of self, you take that problem with you. And when you come out, you have the solution and the answer that not only you need, but the answer that the world needs. And that's what I'm talking about. We are powerful, but the thing about it is that we've been taught not to use our gifts and our talents. We've been taught to be ashamed of our gifts and our talents. We've been taught to be ashamed of who God created us to be. Look, I was created in the image of the Most High God. I was wonderfully and marvelously made. I am a masterpiece. I am His masterpiece. You know what? There is no destroying. There is no stopping me, because I have been taught and trained to tap into the inner dimension of self, where I met with my greatness, and I came out of that inner dimension great. I came out with solutions. I came out knowing that I'm the greatest impact that ever lived. I came out knowing that I'm a prophet that's going to lead people from the dark to the light. I came out with wisdom and knowledge that I did not have before I tapped into the inner, deeper dimension of myself, and that's where my greatness lied. Before then, I was shy, I was backwards, I worked for somebody else. I did what I was told. I was a good slave. I answered to the slave masters. I did everything the way that they said that it should be done. I dotted every I. I crossed every T. But then people came along that said, you're better than that. We see the greatness that's on the inside of you. I got trained by some of the greatest minds. But listen here. It was already on the inside of me. They just helped me to identify. They just helped me with my identity crisis. They helped me to identify who I had been all along. They helped me to understand that I had the power to tap into myself, to tap into the inner dimensions of self, and to come out stronger, better, with the solutions that the world needs. And so if that's what you want to do, if that's where you want to get to, you want to call me, because I am the greatest prophet. I am the greatest impact that the world has ever seen. And I will lead you to the light. And I will help you tap in to the inner dimension of self that you didn't even realize was there. This has been One Life Agency. Just coming by to encourage you to live your life intentionally, live it on purpose, live your best life now. And you know what? Be one life. You only have one, so be the one life that you desire. If you tap into the inner dimension of self, you can be one life. Contact us at onelifeagency.com. We look forward to hearing from you. Until then, take care of you.